Let's talk boys basketball. Got some playoff pairings to talk about there?
You bet. We'll go ahead and start off with one here in front of me, Class 2A, South Central Calhoun. We talked a little bit
When are they going to start again?
The playoffs start for them on the 11th, which would be coming up this coming Monday. We'll have a couple of games that day. But South Central Calhoun does get a bye in the opening round. They'll host the second round game. They'll get either Greene County or Southeast Valley. Greene County could be a tough one. They've got the Miller kid back now in Tyler. They shoot the ball pretty well. Excuse me. They do shoot the ball pretty well, but I do like how this South Central Calhoun team plays. I really think they've got a very good chance to be meeting up with Madrid in that district final. And then, of course, they'll move on to play either Denver or Dike New Hartford probably in the sub-state final as well.
Greene County pushed Carroll over the weekend.
They did. Pushed them for a while anyway. Yeah. Carroll kind of started to pull away in the second half and really took control in that second half. Arweva really like kind of their setup. AHST Avoca could be an interesting game. The really crazy thing to me is you got either Audubon, I think, or Exira, Elkhorn, and Kimballton waiting in the bottom half of that district. The matchup, they haven't played Audubon, of course, but in the same conference with Exira, Elkhorn, and Kimballton, those have been really, really good games this year. And Arweva's been able to pull out both of them. So it'll be interesting to see. They don't have a location for that yet. But if those two end up having to play, that could be really interesting, and it could be tough for Arweva to be able to knock them off 3 times. But I really love this Arweva team. Keegan Simons has just been kind of a man amongst bullies down inside here over the last couple of weeks. And then Wyatt Newman pulls down 17 boards last night.
Yeah, now watch Keegan against Glenn Ralston, and of course they had the game handily. So he started working on his drive moving and maybe more outside work, knowing that he hasn't gotten that much. So really working on his complete game, knowing he's going to probably need some of that going down the stretch.
I tell you what, is there a team that anybody would pull more for? Arweva, they have been so close.
They have.
So many regional finals, so many good teams through the years. They just haven't been able to knock that door down.
But you got to watch that Audubon team. I saw them at Underwood. And they're really good, and I haven't got to see IKM Manning, but that Audubon, if it's Audubon or Arweva, that's going to be a very interesting ballgame.
It will, absolutely. And you get the second round, you get Audubon, Exira, Elkhorn, and Kimballton. They played earlier this year down at Elkhorn, and Elkhorn and Kimballton won it fairly handily. But Audubon, I think, just came off playing the night before. I don't know if they played very well that night. I look for Audubon to give them a much better game and maybe have a chance to win that second round. That's a good ball club. I saw them play Trainer last night. They lost that game, but they really kind of hung in there with the Trainer club. The biggest problem for them was Trainer's got a 6'10" kid, and literally all they do is bring the ball down the floor, and they would just throw it up high. They'd throw it up above the rim a lot of times and just let him go up and do it. Audubon was triple teaming him, trying to jump up with him, but he would just go up above him, and then he'd catch it. And a lot of times, what was interesting is beans they were tripling him, the guy on the other side of the block, the Turks kid, was open. He'd catch the ball in the air and just flip it to Turks for an open layup. Either that or he'd catch it and shoot it while he was still on the air. Kind of hard to defend that when your tallest kid's about 6'2", 6'3", and they've got a 6'10" kid. So, that wasn't a good matchup for them down in the post last night, but I think that the way they play and the style they play, they can give a lot of teams some fits.
How about the rest of the matchup field?
Also in 1A, part of that same sub-state. So if Arweva or Audubon would advance, they could end up playing a couple more of our local teams. You got Glen Ralston opens up. That's the game on Tuesday or on Monday, February 11th. They'll be up at Storm Lake St. Mary's. So we'll have that game covered for everybody. Peyton Sheridan, IKM Manning also in that bracket. They get a bye in the opening round. They'll open up next Thursday, February 14th. Peyton Sheridan will play Newell Fonda at 8 o'clock. The game before that is IKM Manning, West Bend Mallard. Just by looking at records and things, you got to kind of anticipate it'll be IKM Manning, Newell Fonda back up in Fonda probably, or actually, at Sioux Central, Sioux Rapids, probably coming up in that second round. But IKM Manning struggles to score. That's been their biggest kind of downfall all season long. If they can't get Alex Lingle kind of scoring early, they struggle to put the ball in the basket sometimes. Otherwise, defensively, they are going to be in every single game because, it's so funny because you talk to people down there that knew Coach Wagner when they were young, and they say, he didn't play any defense when he was growing up, but he's a great defensive coach, and his teams are always really, really good defensively.
They're always good defensively, but I'm a little shocked at the offense. I mean, they've always had a couple of scorers on this team.
Yeah. They have. It's just not a team that shoots it real well. My nephew's a part of that team. I'm not trying to be hard on him or any of that team. It's just it, and I think the kids know it. They they struggle to shoot at times, and that they'll have games where they go out and knock things down, but there's just been a lot of games where they've had to win them 42-40 because they've struggled to put the ball in the basket consistently.
Now, so far of the matchups we've covered, you think Arweva maybe has the best route of the
Yeah, I don't know if I like the Audubon or Exire Elkhorn Kimballton matchup in that second round or in that third round. I do think that's going to be tough. They certainly can get there, and they got to be the favorite to come out of that.
IKM Manning's got a nice route.
IKM Manning, I think, has got a nice route to get. That second round game against Newell Fonda won't be easy. John, you saw Newell against South Central Calhoun. I haven't had a chance to see him yet, but I think they're a fairly nice ball club.
Yeah, they're athletic. They get up and down the floor. They're kind of like the girls. They're just, they want to play a wide open style.
Right. Yeah. So that one's going to be, if it's Audubon, if it's Newell against IKM Manning, it's going to be a contrast in styles because IKM Manning wants to keep it low scoring and defensive and kind of slow things down, and Newell's going to want to get it up and down the floor. So that one will be interesting. I do like South Central Calhoun's route. I think they've got a fairly decent route and stuff, and Arweva probably would be the other one that to me has a nice route. Coon Rapids Bayard, they're kind of, it's different for them this year. We're so used to them being in with like the Audubons and the Gliddens and the teams here locally. They shipped them completely away from the area. They go down to Ankeny Christian Academy to play Nottoway Valley on February the 14th. The second round matchup with them would be Ankeny Christian Academy, who's ranked in the top 10 right now. So that will be a tough second round matchup for Corey Meyer and the Crusaders. And then the other bracket that's out, I really like the third round matchup if we can get it. Kemper away BCIG would probably be my second round matchup. Kemper opens up on February 11th, and again, I'll have that game covered for everybody. They play Maple Valley Anthony Charter Oak Ute at Alta Aurelia at 6:30. I think they win that basketball game, and then they play a really athletic OA BCIG team. There's a sophomore kid over there. I watched them play IKM Manning earlier this year, a Dijon kid. He did a dunk that I have never seen at the high school level in this area. They were bringing the ball down the floor. Kid at half court throws him an alley-oop. He goes up off of the baseline, catches it with one hand, brings it back behind his head, and tomahawks it in.
Wow.
Very,
That's
very
kind of stuff you see at D1 college.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's just a sophomore.
Wow.
Extremely athletic team. They shoot the three really well. So that'll be a tough matchup. But Kemper, with that conference they play in, when you drop them down into 2A, is always prepared for the playoffs. But Esac County gets a bye in the opening round. They'll play either Alta Aurelia or Missouri Valley over at Ida Grove in the second round. I'd like for them to come out of that, and I think you get either a great matchup with them and a rematch with Kemper, which they won at Kemper earlier this year in a really good game, or against OABCIG, and I think both of those could be really, really fun matchups. So it's going to be tough for ESAC to come out of that because of those teams on the top half, same with Kemper. But I really think that district final is going to be a great game no matter who of those three teams is playing in it.
Do we know Carroll yet?
I do not know Carroll yet. Those brackets have not come out yet.
Who's on the other side of ESAC's bracket?
Who's on the other side of ESAC? Whole Western Christian and West Sioux.
Okay.
So
that makes sense.
Yeah, yep. So they'll send them up to the Northwest as they've done for the last few years. But, you think about it, nobody expected Kemper to go up and beat Whole Western last year, and they were able to do that. So just because you see them on that side of the bracket doesn't mean that you can't get through it. So